Next, from Springfield, House Minority Leader Jim Durkin holds a press conference along with his GOP colleagues to stress the need for the Democrats to compromise on a state budget and other reforms. This runs about 15 minutes.
All right, thank you for joining us. House Republican Leader Jim Durkin. I'm joined with Representative Patty Bellock, Tom Demmer, David Rice, Grant Worley, and Dan Brady. Here we are, officially past the halfway point of the spring legislative session. And what do we have to show for it? Let's be honest, not much. Here in the House, the majority Democrat Party has been completely unwilling to work with us on negotiating a balanced budget with reforms to put our state back on the right track. But that's not for a lack of trying. Just 2 weeks ago, a number of our members stood here in the Blue Room calling for us to begin the work of addressing the issue of property taxes, which for many of our members is the #1 issue facing their constituents. Since then, we've seen and heard nothing from the Democrats. The next day, another group of our members called for the need for redistricting reform, not only very popular with Illinoisans, but one that restores accountability between elected officials and constituents. Since then, we've seen and heard nothing from the Democrats. And last week, 25 of my colleagues and I filed comprehensive pension reform legislation that would provide significant savings for taxpayers and give the Chicago Public Schools the $215 million for a one-time pension parity payment. Again, we have heard nothing from the majority Democrats in Springfield. And just yesterday, 2 Senate Democrat leaders stated that a budget won't be passed until 2019. Really? Why? Does that mean that they have thrown in the towel and they would rather let the state of Illinois sink further? I'm absolutely troubled and very discouraged of hearing that yesterday. We need to keep working. We've got time to get this done. But as we kick off this week, I'm asking our colleagues in the majority party to work with us. Work with us on passing a balanced budget with reforms. We can do it, and we can do it now. I showed that last week that we're not afraid to put votes on a very difficult issue. 26 votes for pension reform. That's our proportionate share if we work on a structured roll call. That's what we do. That's how you negotiate. I know that divided government is a new concept here in Springfield, which the Democrats deeply despise, but we won't be able to move things forward unless we move forward together. Because if we don't, my fear is that the closer we get to May 31st, the Democrat majority party will revert back to what they always do, and that's to shove through another wildly out-of-balance budget that they know very well will not be signed by the governor, but they will go home claiming victory and that they did their job and do their usual victory laps back in the district. I'm telling them to stop the insanity. For too long, the majority party has shirked their responsibilities, whether it's raising the income tax under the guise that it would pay down old bills and put people back to work, or passing reckless, unbalanced budgets year after year. Simply raising taxes and increased spending without any reforms didn't work then, and it won't work now. We need to actually reduce spending, demand property tax relief, and include reforms to grow jobs and help our economy. As I said in January to the Speaker, I am prepared to work with him on every issue that is a priority for him. We will negotiate with him. He does not have a supermajority, but he must respect the priorities of our side of the aisle. That's what adults do. They come together, they work out their differences, and they shake hands and move on. That's what I'm asking of the Speaker. Thank you.
Halfway through and nothing to show for it. A few months ago, that's what I told Governor Rauner his whole term looks like. And here you are saying the same thing and pointing fingers at the Democrats. I'm wondering, what role the leader of the Republican Party, the leader of all of us in Illinois, has in this.
Under the Constitution and under all state law, legislation starts in the chambers. The governor has been making proposals for the past 3 years about trying to put Illinois in a better place. But the fact is the governor does not introduce legislation. The governor does not pass legislation. It's up to the Speaker to make a decision, the Speaker and the President to make a decision of whether they are going to work with this governor to advance an agenda that's going to make Illinois a better state. It's not the governor's fault. It's up to Democrats who have absolutely no desire to work with this governor. Put it on them.
Well, in 2 years, Governor Rauner is going to be asking us for our vote. And what are Republicans to be able to say to give him another 4 years here.
Republicans are going to say that we have been willing to work with the Democrats to fix the problems of this state, which we have been for the past, since Governor Rauner got elected. I don't know how many times I've said we're willing to negotiate with the Democrats time after time on every issue. But the fact is, they lead us down this path like they've done over the past 2 years with the working groups, and then pull the rug out from underneath us, and then they put these ridiculously unbalanced budgets on the board, and they don't seem to care about it. And they know the governor is going to veto it, but they use it for their political propaganda. So, I mean, the question is, who's governing? They're not governing. The governor wants to get some things done. He's willing to acknowledge and accept their priorities as long as they accept our priorities and his priorities.
The last one for me, if that's all right. Even if it's not all right, I go there. As a voter, I've got Jimenez and McCann and LaHood and the governor. So where am I supposed to go?
You really want me to answer that question?
Please.
Jimenez, McCann, Rauner. Because they're trying. They're trying to get the problems fixed. They're not giving these false promises to Illinoisans. They're not making votes that are blowing our budget apart, blowing our spending, creating this backlog of bills. They're desperately seeking a resolution to this budget impasse, as am I and the governor. But the fact is, we are not going to let our votes be taken for granted. They've had the supermajority up until this last election. They could have done whatever they want. They didn't. We won seats. This is how we get things done. It's through a collaborative manner. But the fact is, the Republicans are prepared to take on and address every major issue that the Democrats find important. But the fact is, we will work with them as long as they work with us, again, on our priorities.
I see from Cat Facts this morning that the governor is running ads again. It's the middle of session, as you say. I don't know if you've ever, I've never seen it, except since he's been governor, that anybody in leadership like that runs ads during a session when you're trying to get a deal. Is it helpful to get a deal?
Well, I don't know. Democrats for years have been running, whether they've had people picketing our office through their third-party groups. They've been playing this, going down this road for many years. The fact is, we have a governor who is going out to the public, and he's asking for the public to get engaged, get the public engaged, and forcing the legislature to get their job done, to do their job, to force men and women of the House and the Senate to put their political differences aside and get this impasse completed, get past the impasse. And that's what the governor's saying. What's happened in the past is not acceptable, but the fact is, this is only going to get done if the Democrats are not going to come to their senses. Go to the public, demand an uprising of the public, and that's what the governor's doing with this commercial.
Well, the governor's tried using force for 2 years and it hasn't worked.
Well, you know what? People are seeing that the state of Illinois is in dire straits right now. And we go down every month that we continue down this road. There's an expense that the state it's costing the state, universities, K through 12, you name it. Everybody who relies upon the state of Illinois is in a worse position. So the governor needs to educate people about what's going on and get them engaged, and that'll force the legislature to act.
Have there been any talks between you and the speaker in regards to the budget? In the Senate, we know we've seen some kind of attempt at bipartisanship that's largely been derailed. Where do things stand in the House?
I have not talked to the speaker in some time. I've sent letters to him asking for his support on a number of issues, I don't have the same luxury as the President of the Senate and the Senator Radonio have, but I've been very clear about my public statements about what we need to do.
Is the speaker not engaging with you?
No.
And is that
Have you called?
business as usual?
I've made, I can't say it's business as usual, but the speaker comes to me when he needs something. But the fact is, I've been very public about getting this done. I don't need to have to make a personal phone call to him. I've made public statements time and time after, and whether it was at the stage at the swearing in about our need to do this in a collaborative manner. I think the message has been pretty clear, and the invitation has been open for a while.
You mentioned Leader Radonio, the grand bargain, obviously. The votes got called off. The governor doesn't say he did it, but his people said it still needed work, which kind of means maybe the governor, at least they weren't ready for votes to happen. Do you think that that action from the governor's side has hurt the credibility or undercut Leader Radonio?
No. I think that everyone in this building, we want the best deal we can. And I encouraged the Senate last month to continue their work, but get the best deal that they can. I'm not going to get in, everybody's speculating about what happened, but the fact is I'm going to ask them today to continue their work. Continue their work and get a better deal, get the best deal they can, so we can keep momentum, build up some momentum, bring it over to the House, and hopefully bring resolution to this matter. I have confidence in both the President of the Senate and also the Senate Republican leader that they can get this done.
Would you advise them to take votes on the grand bargain this week?
I don't know what's in their grand bargain, but I would say that I'm asking them to go back and continue to work, but get the best deal they can. And they know exactly what the right balance is. They've got to find the balance that's going to earn the governor's signature. And I think we all know what it means. It means a little bit. It's going to be some reforms, it's going to be cuts, and there's going to be the ultimate revenue issue.
This morning, the speaker sent out a letter about the sale of the Thompson Center. He said that he was working with CMS on this proposal yesterday, and the governor came out against him. But he said that both sides agree that your current bill is flawed. Is that
It's news to me. CMS has never told me that, but we filed this bill October of 2015, and I think the speaker now placing an objection on this legislation is, I think it's unfortunate and it's political. It's like yesterday. I've had a bill sitting out there would allow for the public-private partnership to be enacted for the managed lanes on the I-55. And again, the speaker threw cold water on it just before the press conference on legislation that's been around for over a year. So you'll have to ask him what his motivations are, but I don't buy what he has stated in his brief press statement. It's more politically driven. It has nothing to do with substance. These are good bills. This is about taking this building and putting it back on the property tax rolls, which is going to help the city of Chicago and everybody else. It'll be good development. It's a good area for development. But the managed lanes legislation, which he threw cold water on yesterday, which I presume he's not going to take up, would have put a lot of people to work. It was supported by the business community and also labor. We haven't had that in a while. But all of a sudden, just before the press conference, sorry, not going to work. And I think the speaker made a comment about it yesterday, which pretty much leads me to believe that he has no interest in undertaking that project.
So I think the comment he made was that IDOT, asked IDOT months ago for details.
There's been 5 hearings in the House of Representatives on that House joint resolution. So this is just another stalling tactic that the speaker and the Democrats are using right now. And I'm afraid we're getting to a point that they do not want to see this governor get any type of legislative victory between now and the next elections.
You said we have time to orchestrate a budget.
Absolutely.
The Senate deal, as it was, the revenue increase didn't really work anymore after this month. Obviously, you can't retroactively tax people. So, do you have a deadline? Do you have a framework here?
May 31st. I've been around here a while, and I've seen some amazing things happen in the last week of May. All of us have. So if there's a willingness to get something done, it'll get done. But again, the Democrats have to have open minds and have to be sincere with their intentions about resolving the budget impasse.
Some people think that in the last election he picked up seats in part because of the popularity of President Trump. And there's been a lot of odd stuff going on in Washington. I just wonder if what's going on in Washington, public opinion, if you think that's having any effect or will have any effect on your trying to...
All things are local.
That's a no.
I don't believe so. You know what? People are going to point fingers at Washington about what's going on with Schumer and how they're blocking things in the Senate. I mean, the same thing happened under President Obama. But at the end of the day, this is a state that I think Hillary Clinton won by 17 points. Again, I'll just say that it's up to our members to message back at home about what they're trying to do to break the impasse. And we have to call out the Democrats for what they're doing if they are not going to work with us.
Yeah, well, the Medicaid thing with the $4 billion a year that might be lost, are you working with members of Congress to work on the federal budget?
The administration is, and I can't respond to that because I'm not up to speed on it. All right, anything else? Thank you.
You're watching the Illinois Channel, an independent nonprofit corporation formed to provide gavel-to-gavel coverage of Illinois state government and other public affairs events taking place across Illinois.